Welcome back to the channel, Cowboys Nation, and thanks for tuning in to another huge offseason update that could reshape the way we look at the Dallas Cowboys heading into the 2025 NFL season. This is not just your average news drop, this is the type of rumor mill buzz that gets fans on the edge of their seats and executives back to their war rooms. We're diving into 5 blockbuster names, yes, 5 players who are either currently holding out or in the midst of serious contract disputes that Dallas could be eyeing for potential trade acquisitions. Among them, 2 marquee names you'll absolutely want to hear more about are all-pro cornerback Jalen Ramsey and star defensive end Trey Hendrickson. These are not just pipe dream targets, these are strategic fits that could fill major gaps on this Cowboys roster as they aim to finally get over the hump and make a deep playoff run. The Dallas Cowboys have had an interesting offseason so far, filled with more questions than answers. While some fans are still reeling from last season's early playoff exit, the front office seems committed, at least publicly, to maintaining the core group. But behind the scenes, sources have indicated that Dallas is quietly monitoring several trade markets, especially as disgruntled stars across the league sit out mandatory mini-camps and OTAs due to unresolved contract issues. And let's be clear, this isn't just about big names for the sake of headlines. The Cowboys have very real needs in the secondary, on the edge, and potentially even at linebacker and wide receiver. Addressing those areas with battle-tested stars who are already sending signals that they want out of their current situations. That's where this gets interesting. Let's kick things off with a name that has recently been linked to the Cowboys through multiple speculative reports and insider chatter: Jalen Ramsey. While Ramsey is recovering from a meniscus injury that cut his 2024 season short, he remains one of the league's most dominant cornerbacks when healthy. He's still only 30 years old and possesses elite-level instincts, physicality, and experience, exactly what the Cowboys could use opposite Trayvon Diggs. With Stephon Gilmore no longer in the fold and Darren Bland expected to return to the slot, Ramsey's presence would instantly elevate this secondary. He's reportedly frustrated with the current rebuilding status of the Miami Dolphins defense and could be seeking a fresh start on a contending roster. His cap hit is significant, but if the Dolphins are open to moving him and absorbing some of that financial weight, this could be the type of calculated risk Jerry Jones thrives on. Pairing Diggs with Ramsey? That could quickly become the best 1-2 corner punch in the NFL. Now let's shift to Trey Hendrickson, the edge rusher currently making waves with the Cincinnati Bengals. Hendrickson has made it clear that he's unhappy with his current deal and recently requested a trade. He's entering the final year of his contract and, at 30 years old, still playing at a high level. Last season, he posted 17.5 sacks and 22 tackles for loss, showing no signs of slowing down. The Cowboys, for all their defensive talent, are still looking for that consistent complementary pass rusher to line up opposite Micah Parsons. Hendrickson could be that guy. Imagine an edge duo of Parsons and Hendrickson wreaking havoc every Sunday. That level of pressure would force offenses to scheme heavily against the Cowboys' front, potentially leading to more turnovers and better field position for Dak Prescott and the offense. The price tag for Hendrickson wouldn't come cheap, possibly a second-round pick or a package of picks, but considering the pass rushing premium in today's NFL, it may be well worth the investment. The third name to keep an eye on is wide receiver Brandon Aiyuk of the San Francisco 49ers. Aiyuk is entering the final year of his rookie contract and has yet to reach an agreement on an extension. While the 49ers continue to say they want him back, Aiyuk has been vocal about wanting to be paid like a top wideout, and rightfully so. He's coming off a season with over 1,300 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns, proving to be a true WR1 caliber talent. For the Cowboys, this move makes a lot of sense. While CeeDee Lamb is undoubtedly the alpha in the receiver room, adding Aiyuk would give Dallas a lethal 1-2 punch and insurance in case of injury or double coverage situations. Michael Gallup is no longer with the team, and Brandon Cooks, while still effective, isn't the long-term answer. Aiyuk could thrive in this offense, especially with Lamb drawing coverage attention. His ability to stretch the field, run crisp routes, and generate yards after the catch would open up the entire playbook for Mike McCarthy. The Cowboys have reportedly had internal conversations about upgrading the receiver room, and Aiyuk's situation in San Francisco is something they are definitely monitoring closely. Another intriguing option is linebacker Patrick Queen, who just completed a stellar season with the Baltimore Ravens but remains unsigned and is rumored to be at odds with the team over his market value. Queen has grown into one of the more complete linebackers in the league, with the ability to play all three downs and contribute in both run defense and pass coverage. The Cowboys have a need at linebacker, especially with Leighton Vander Esch's retirement and DeMarvion Overshown still rehabbing his torn ACL. While Damone Clark has promise, adding a player like Queen would solidify the second level of the defense and give Dan Quinn or his successor, if there are coaching changes, plenty of flexibility in play calling. Baltimore may be reluctant to trade Queen within the AFC, making an NFC team like Dallas an appealing partner. If the price is right, the Cowboys should pounce. He's the kind of move that could change the tone of your defense instantly. The fifth and perhaps most wild-card option in the mix is safety Budda Baker from the Arizona Cardinals. Baker has been a vocal leader for years and one of the few bright spots on a struggling Cardinals defense. However, he's reportedly unhappy with the lack of progress in contract talks and the team's rebuilding timeline. Dallas could use a tone setter like Baker in the secondary, someone who brings not only elite play but also intensity and leadership. The Cowboys have Malik Hooker and Donovan Wilson, but Baker would instantly become the alpha in that room. He's a ball hawk, he hits hard, and he's always around the football. His presence would bring back some of that 90s swagger to the Cowboys defense. Arizona is rebuilding and may be open to dealing Baker for draft capital, especially if things don't improve quickly on their end. And from a locker room standpoint, Baker would be a culture builder, someone who demands accountability and elevates everyone around him. Now the question becomes, how likely is it that Dallas actually pulls the trigger on any of these trades? That's where things get complicated. The Cowboys front office, led by Stephen and Jerry Jones, has often been criticized for being too conservative in their approach to player movement, particularly when it comes to big-name trades. But with the NFC getting more competitive and the window for a championship narrowing, pressure is mounting. This team can't keep coming up short in the playoffs and expect fans to stay patient. Trading for one or even two of these names would send a strong message not just to the locker room, but to the entire league that Dallas is serious about winning now. It's time to be aggressive, especially when you have a quarterback in Dak Prescott who is heading into the final year of his contract and playing for a future extension. Let's also not forget the financial angle. The Cowboys do have cap space flexibility, especially if they restructure a few current contracts or move on from some expendable depth pieces. Ramsey and Baker come with larger cap hits, but their impact on the field is undeniable. Hendrickson and Queen would require new deals in the near future, but Dallas could structure those to be cap-friendly in the early years. Aiyuk's extension would need to be massive, but again pairing him with Lamb would give the Cowboys perhaps the best young receiver duo in the NFL. The front office has to weigh short-term gains against long-term costs, but given how close this team has come to breaking through in recent seasons, this might be the time to swing big. From a locker room chemistry standpoint, all five of these players are known leaders or high-character individuals. Ramsey has been vocal and passionate throughout his career but commands respect. Hendrickson is a high-motor guy who leads by example. Aiyuk has quietly emerged as a dominant receiver without the diva behavior some teams fear. Queen has grown into a vocal leader in Baltimore's locker room. And Budda Baker? He's respected around the league as one of the hardest workers and most intense competitors out there. These are players you can build around not just on the field but in the culture of your organization. And culture is something Dallas desperately needs to fortify if they hope to sustain postseason success. Now, Here's the kicker: sources close to the team have suggested that at least 2 of these players have been internally discussed in Dallas. While names haven't been officially confirmed by the Cowboys, there's enough smoke to suggest that fire could be coming. The front office is aware of the fanbase's frustration, and with Dak's future in question, Micah Parsons inching toward a massive extension, and CeeDee Lamb already due for a new deal, this is a team at a crossroads. Go big now, or risk letting the core age out without reaching its full potential. As fans, we've seen this story too many times. Promising regular seasons followed by underwhelming playoff exits. It's not enough anymore to be in the mix. The Cowboys have to start making decisions that reflect championship ambition. Trading for proven stars, especially ones already shaking loose from their current teams, isn't just a bold move. It's a necessary one. Whether it's Jalen Ramsey blanketing opposing receivers, Trey Hendrickson adding fire to the pass rush, Brandon Aiyuk electrifying the offense, Patrick Queen patrolling the middle, or Budda Baker enforcing from the back end, each of these players represents a shot at elevating this roster beyond pretty good to truly dangerous. So here's the final thought. If the Cowboys want to end their Super Bowl drought and finally fulfill the promise of this talented roster, now's the time to be aggressive. Now's the time to make the trades that fans will talk about for years to come, not because of splash, but because of substance. And with 5 prime-time talents potentially up for grabs, the opportunity is right in front of them. Let's see if they have the guts to take it. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe for more in-depth Cowboys coverage, and drop a comment below. Let us know which of these 5 trade targets you'd want most in a Dallas uniform. Until next time, Cowboys Nation, stay strong and stay tuned.